tonight, the family of a man who medical professionals say died due to COVID-19 pneumonia says something is not adding up. Guy Joseph warns the SLP to get its supporters in check, claiming attempts at intimidation. And the Ministry of Health seeks to rev up vaccination as only 16% of the population has been vaccinated. The details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 15th of June, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. A Cicero family is demanding answers from the island's lone respiratory hospital following the death of their relative. Stephen Fortune died on the 17th of May 2021, and on his death certificate, COVID-19 pneumonia was listed as one of the causes of death. Given that information, the family questions why they have not been tested for COVID-19 and why they are unable to view the body. Nisha Charles begins our reporting.
The relatives of 58-year-old Stephen Fortune are yet to come to terms with his passing. After being in hospital for about 3 weeks, Fortune died on May 17, 2021. His death certificate stated that the cause of death included respiratory acute distress syndrome, hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and COVID-19 pneumonia. According to his daughter, prior to his passing, there were no signs of COVID-19, and relatives were allowed to visit her father. Stephanie Fortune is not convinced that her father's death was COVID-related.
If they have corona, they will so start come and take everybody in the house, everybody to get tested. They never ask us to get tested. They never tell us nothing. My mother living in the house with him, we living in the house. My little brother okay, I okay, my mother okay. Look, my children, they're good. My daughter always with my father. None of us not sick. Even if they say, there are certain times you're not seeing the symptoms, but at least nobody not having no difficulty breathing, no kind of problems, no kind of symptoms, no kind of symptom. Everybody come to the shop. My father have a shop. My father didn't have no corona, because if he had corona, they would at least tell us his corona he have at the hospital. But they want to put a different thing. He had the pressure, he had the sugar, yes, he had these things. But that doesn't mean that's COVID related. They have asthma, they have bronchitis, they have other sicknesses that can lead to suffocation. Not because the person not breathing properly, that means the person have corona. They have other symptoms. What about COPD? He used to smoke.
Following his death, his daughter claims that very little communication was had with hospital staff, and they were not allowed to view his body at that time.
After 2, the people would call me and tell me my father passed away. They say they would try, he was there good, his oxygen started going down. They try to give him CPR and stuff to get him back. They say he didn't recover, he go. And the only thing they want us to know is which home to put him in. We never get a call after that. We never spoke to no nurse for us to tell us if he did the operation, nothing. The time when they come, we call Rambali go and take him, they bring him on the vehicle. Nobody haven't come and called. We call in the doctors, nobody not answering. We don't know if my father did the operation, if my father if my father didn't do the operation. Yet still, we cannot even see him. Because to me, if he did the operation, it's either he died underneath the operation. If he didn't do the operation, they let him die.
She says it is heart-wrenching that they are unable to view her father's body at his burial.
Don't know if he's a dog we buried in, if he's a cat, we don't know who that is. We don't even know if he's somebody else we buried in on Thursday. We don't know nothing. We beg the people, they say they cannot have an open casket. We beg them, we tell them, Alice, let's put a glass case on the cover. Alice, to just see the man's face. We don't need to open it just so we can know who is that. They said the body left at the hospital wrapped up. They're not unwrapping it. They put it in a coffin. They cannot unwrap it. Chastity have to at least let people identify who is that we buried in. We cannot bury somebody and we don't know who that is. Because it's money that's spending to bury somebody. It's not on ground people picking up money. It's not no tree, no plantation nobody have. I find that's just very odd. And Chastity have to let us view the body. If it's that, So I say that to bury my father and buried him properly.
Efforts to reach the medical director at the island's respiratory hospital for clarity on the matter proved futile. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Politicians on both sides have issued warnings about the increasingly tense environment surrounding elections. SLP leader Philip J. Pierre has cautioned party supporters not to allow themselves to be provoked, and now Castries Southeast MP Guy Joseph is cautioning the St. Lucia Labour Party's leader to get supporters to tone it down after an incident where he says SLP supporters attempted to block off the road along his way home.
So I think Philip J. Pierre, the so-called leader of the Labour Party, although he doesn't have the gonads to be able to say anything that is correct, but I'm still appealing to him because he's the named leader of the party, to advise his people to conduct themselves better than they are.
That's not good.
Castries Southeast MP Guy Joseph says the temperature gauge is surely moving up as campaigning heats up on island. But he has expressed concern about the tone and style of the Labour Party's campaign. He says the SLP and its supporters are becoming increasingly confrontational and combative. He has called on political leader Philip J. Pierre to temper his own comments and dissuade the party's supporters from continuing or intensifying their current mode of campaigning.
I want to put the Labour Party on notice and tell them that intimidation tactics they want to use will not work. And I think Flabos are ready.
Oh yeah.
Flabos are more than ready. And if you want to have a campaign and respect everybody. Do not try to block people when they on the road or when people are about their private business, that their vehicle is being knocked, people doing things. If they have flags on their vehicle, people want to pull down their flags. Labour Party don't want to go down that road. If they go down that road, it will not be good for anybody in St. Lucia.
He recounted an incident that occurred on his way home, one he believes was meant to intimidate him.
Now imagine, I'm in Tuapiton. I'm driving up to my home in Forest.
10 minutes away.
Yes. I'm now being told to turn and go around because Labour Party people are on the road misbehaving. Now I know in campaign and in this and in that, you know, people get excited and things. I said to them, no, I'm not turning and I'm not going back. And that's the road to my home, and I'm going to my home. And to be fair with you, I drove and I passed. There were people with their flags waving, a small crowd of persons. Nobody interfered with me.
SLP leader Philip J. Pierre has been cautioning supporters of the Labour Party to remain peaceful, as he believes that the UWP is seeking to provoke SLP supporters as a means of sparking violence, a move that he says will give the government the excuse it wants to delay the general election.
Do not get excited. I just want you to vote. They will provoke you. They'll provoke you. Because what they want to do is they want to paint us in a kind of way so they can say the Labour Party violent.
Both parties say the goal is to have a peaceful general election that will in no way be marred by violence.
As the economy slowly reopens and restrictions are lessened, the need to have a significant portion of the workforce vaccinated against COVID-19 becomes increasingly important to protect the health of the citizenry. So says the National Immunization Manager, Tekla Jabatis, as she gave an update of the country's vaccination rollout. The campaign, which is now in its 4th month of implementation, has so far seen 16.4% of the population receiving the first dose and 11.4% of the population receiving the second dose of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine.
A campaign which began some 4 months ago is pressing on to ensure that as many people are vaccinated against the dreaded coronavirus which causes COVID-19. The campaign modified its initial phased approach in May to be complemented with a mobile component. facilitating greater ease of access to the vaccine by the citizenry. The National Immunization Manager, Tekla Jabatis, says the ministry is intensifying its campaign rollout.
It should be noted that a cross-section of the private sector has partnered with the Ministry of Health to provide vaccine to their management and staff within their workplace. This has proven to be an effective approach for increasing vaccination coverage amongst individuals in their productive years of life. The Ministry of Health notes particular success with this strategy within the hotel sector. To date, some hotels have achieved vaccine coverage of about 65 to 70% of their staff complement. This is a remarkable achievement, especially in a sector where there is a higher risk of possible exposure to the COVID-19 virus, given the nature of the heightened level of daily interaction with a wide range of people.
The demand for vaccines worldwide far surpasses the supply, as the world is still at a critical point in the pandemic where vaccine supply is limited. Jabatis maintains that the COVAX facility remains committed to the delivery of the allocated number of doses to St. Lucia. The third tranche of vaccines is expected in the coming weeks, and the opportunity to continue procuring additional doses through this platform exists. The ministry continues to engage authorized vaccine suppliers with the intention of adding other COVID-19 vaccines to the current program.
Vaccine safety and monitoring for severe adverse events remain a critical component of the vaccine rollout. It has been noted that recent reports released by global health authorities indicates that there is an association of blood clotting events after the use of the AstraZeneca vaccine. We at the Ministry of Health are aware that this may have contributed to a level of hesitancy towards the vaccine and thus affecting uptake. We assure all that these events have been confirmed as being extremely rare and an unlikely expected outcome for the vast majority of people who receive this vaccine. It is important to consider that clotting problems are a common complication of COVID-19 infection, and it is also associated with other prevalent health conditions, including obesity.
While the Ministry of Health and Wellness remains steadfast in its efforts towards achieving population immunity, residents are encouraged to continue adhering to public health measures. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Still to come, Infrastructure Minister Stephenson King tours the HIA redevelopment project. The National Workers Union welcomes news of a buoyant tourism sector and the U.S.'s lowering of its travel advisory for St. Lucia. And a reminder that 1 pint of blood could save at least 3 lives as hospitals remain in urgent need of blood donations. That and more after the break.